Welcome to Be Smart, Ask Your Coach. I'm your coach, Melania Johnson. I am a certified coach. I am certified in social and emotional intelligence. I use the social and emotional intelligence profile assessment in my coaching and training offerings for my company. I'm the president of Be Smart Coaching. And today's topic is social and emotional intelligence for leaders. This is a four-part series that we're going to cover, and today's topic is going to uh, focus on self-awareness. The work of people managers is something that starts from the inside out. Stephen Covey, in his book, The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, he talks about the manager being the tool. You yourself are the tool that gets things done, motivates people, helps folks to reach goals. You're the tool that does that. You and your skills, and being and building social and emotional intelligence is a part of what he calls sharpening the tool. Developing yourself. The thing about social and emotional intelligence is that it is a skill, something that can be learned. And when we talk about assessments, unlike things like Myers Briggs and DISC that really kind of talk about um, our personality traits that are baked into us, social and emotional intelligence is something that we can grow if we have intention and focus and practice. So I want to share with you just a couple of statistics regarding social and emotional intelligence. According to the World Economic Forum, their future of jobs report, they said that they stated that 36% of people in the world are emotionally intelligent. That's only 36% of the people on this planet are socially and emotionally intelligent. That means if you are able to build up this skill, that you will be a rare unicorn. Not everyone possesses this ability. Another stat by Talent Smart is that 58% of people who are successful across the board, in different industries, they have the skill set of emotional intelligence. um, 9 out of 10, in fact, are of people who are successful have this trait. Right? And then you have, in terms of future jobs and future job skills, that social and emotional intelligence is one of the top skills that employers are looking for. So, your ability to build this skill is going to aid you not in only in your professional relationships, but also in your personal relationships, because there's that saying, wherever you go, there you are. When you improve that particular skill, you're going to see the quality of your relationships improve across the board. So when we talk about social and emotional intelligence, what are we talking about? We're talking about an ability to recognize and to handle your own emotions, right? And how you demonstrate them, as well as being able to recognize and navigate other people's emotions successfully. And so that's what we're talking about, being able to manage our emotions, being able to manage the emotions of other people so that we can get some things done, so that we can communicate and cooperate and reach goals and things of that nature and have um, uh, uh, relationships that are fulfilling and successful. So, when we talk about our emotions, what do they impact? They impact our behaviors. How do we act when we're stressed? How do we act when we're happy? How do we act when we're angry? It impacts our decision making. If I am going through a lot, I very well may not be the same person when I'm not under stress. So, how do I show up in the world when I'm under stress? And so, when we talk about social and emotional intelligence, there are four areas that social and emotional intelligence focuses on: self awareness, self management, other awareness, and relationship management. Those four areas are the areas that you want to focus on in terms of building your skills. So today's conversation is about self-awareness, and we're going to look at three different areas really quickly in terms of emotional self-awareness, accurate self assessment, and personal power. And so, you know, I've had a number of managers, and I can tell you this: being managed by someone that possesses low social and emotional intelligence is excruciatingly painful. Uh, Folks with who are in management and leadership positions that don't have high social and emotional intelligence, they aren't aware how their words impact others. They're not aware of their behaviors. Are you passive aggressive? Are you aggressive? Are you hands off and nonchalant? They aren't aware of how their mindsets impact others. Are you a glass half full, glass half empty kind of a person? They're not aware how their energy or how their emotions set the tone for the department, for a meeting, for projects. They're just not aware. So they walk through life really like a wrecking ball, and they destroy relationships and connections really wherever they go. So this is a skill set for managers and leaders that is an important skill set when it comes to building relationships and connections. Connections are very important in our work day. Um, we I'll use this stat: $430 billion is the estimated cost of low retention by the year 2030. Employees are not feeling connected to their employers. And when you can build social and emotional intelligence, you can start to build greater inroads to connection. So we're going to talk about emotional self-awareness. And what does that mean? Well, that just means the ability to recognize and understand your own emotions and their impact on other folks. And when I talk about accurate self-assessment, that means that I see myself for who I am. I see my strengths. I see my weaknesses. I see my growth opportunities. I see me. I don't overestimate my abilities, and I don't underestimate my abilities. And that I can have an appreciation for who I am holistically, as a whole, perfectly imperfect. And then there's personal power, the ability to understand and leverage one's own strengths and resources to achieve goals and navigate challenges effectively. We all have power. I think as a human being, one of the things that frustrates me sometimes is when I run into people who feel that they're powerless to make change. I believe that we are all empowered to make change. We all possess power. Whether we utilize it or not is something different. So, my talk today is about one thing: it's removing distractions in order to get to know ourselves. Uh, you know, we live um, in a world today where it's really difficult to be present. And in order to be self aware, being present is necessary because you've got to tune into yourself. And we're distracted by a lot of things. First of all, we're distracted by our busy schedules. Being busy has become a badge of honor. Your side hustle, you got to be on the grind. It's busy, 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 busy. So on our work day, we're trying to deal with the fact that we're incredibly busy. We're on projects, we're managing people, we're taking care of customers, we're putting out fires, and then you leave that and you walk into your home life. And if you're a family person, then that means taking the kids hither and thither, and you're running around, and you're just trying to live your life, right? And then when there's a moment of free time, we're attached to our electronics and we're on social media, and then there's an endless array of entertainment options that leave us very little time to have quiet space, reflective space. And we need that. And let me also say that being in that space is not always easy. We learned that from the pandemic when people were separated from folks and they could only be with themselves, so to speak. It was difficult. It's difficult sometimes to sit with your feelings. If your feelings are all happy, that's great. But if they're not, it's difficult to sit in that space. So developing social and emotional intelligence requires that you are able to sit in your own space, to be in your own company, and that you turn your attention past the surface and you go inside and you start asking yourself, how am I showing up in the world? How am I showing up for other people? You know, I encourage people um, to take time to to look at their schedules and to schedule some time in for yourself just to be able to hear yourself. Drive to work without the radio on, and think about some of the interactions and the conversations you've had. When you go for your walk, maybe not have your headphones on. How did I handle that meeting? How am I showing up for my employees? How am I, showing up for my partner or spouse? Is it the way that I want to be? So removing the distractions are one way to help us to have that time, schedule it. It could be a Sunday morning having coffee or tea, in your garden or on your balcony or in the park, but schedule that time. And I want you to challenge yourself to think about, how am I showing up in the world? You know, dedicate some time to that. And I would also, in terms of removing the distractions, understanding that social and emotional intelligence is a skill, it behooves you to find resources that help you to build that skill, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a training. LinkedIn Live, LinkedIn has trainings, whether it's getting a coach or a mentor, or just going online and reading some things. Daniel Goldman, uh, you know, pioneered this concept of emotional intelligence. But to do some work so that you understand, on your lunch break, or, if you put in an audio book or whatever, that you're building this very much needed skill. Try to, again, when you stop to think about that number, that only 36% of the world's population is socially or emotionally intelligent. Try to build s- socially and emotionally intelligent teams. Talk about it. Use your one-on-ones to do more than just, go through a checklist of to-dos and dones, but to dig a little bit deeper, in terms of even your direct reports. Are they really, do they have accurate, um, uh, self-assessment? Do they feel that they have personal power? you know Seek out opportunities, again, to consider, training and things of that nature, to help you. So these are just, some things that you might want to give a little thought to, as you contemplate this area of social and emotional intelligence. I want to go back because someone asked me a little bit about, am I going to dig in deep on personal power? And I'm not today, but I do want to say this. I want to say that, power is a very interesting force, and we all have it. But what we have to, and I'll take myself for example. I have the ability to influence and to help people to change and move. That's why I do what I do, and that's why I'm passionate about it. I think it's a gift, right? But on the other hand, I can be pushy. Same power, but just used in a way that doesn't get the outcome that I'm looking for and maybe that the other person needs. I think one of the things that we have to get comfortable with is our power. What are you using it for? What are the outcomes that you want? Are you trying to bring your resources that you have to bear and to have outcomes that serve something larger than yourself, or are you trying to amass power so that you can manipulate people? I think one of the most important things about power and being able to manage it well is the first step is to be a great listener. Self awareness means that you need to listen to yourself. You need to look at how you use power, what you think you need it for, what it does for you, and what it does for other people. But listening helps you to understand the circumstances in which power is needed, and it helps you to understand how much power is needed and what types of power is needed. Sometimes the power is in restraint. So I think it's important to see ourselves, and if you feel powerless, to do some work in terms of what is making you feel that you don't have power. I'm going to do, I think, some other talks about personal power. But let me just say this because I don't want to keep you long. When we're talking about social and emotional intelligence, we're talking about a tool for managers that helps to create better communication. You are present. How many times in life are we not present? Right? And so you are present, and when you're present and you're engaged, then your direct reports, they feel it, and it's going to help in terms of collaboration and teamwork and stronger relationships and a more productive work environment. When you are more self-aware of your strengths and your weakness and your opportunities and your victories and your failings. And when you can look at that and not beat yourself up over it or try to be grandiose about it, you learn to have empathy for yourself. And when you can feel empathy for yourself, you can then have more empathy for others. You can walk a mile in their shoes and they feel it. They feel that you understand, their world and their challenges and their struggles. And when folks feel that you understand them, it builds greater levels of trust and you build a more positive work environment. When it comes to accurate self assessment, you can't do that without feedback. And you have to be emotionally intelligent to receive feedback. If everybody is just cheering you on and it's always a cheerleading expedition, oh, tell me how great I am. You don't need a whole heck of a lot of social and emotional intelligence to be told you're great, even when you are. You need humility, but but what you really need social and emotional intelligence for is when someone has some critique for your improvement. How you handle those emotions will either shut the door or open the door for others to share information freely. You cannot say that you really have an accurate self assessment of yourself if you're not willing to allow people to weigh in. And I'm not saying that you have to look at yourself from the outside in all the time, but it's good to get information. That information helps you to understand who you are and how you're showing up in the world. And so when you have deeper levels of social and emotional intelligence, you deliver feedback very differently and you receive feedback in a way that helps you to grow and keeps the door open for people to be able to help you to grow. When you are socially and emotionally intelligent, you are better able to, again, get a feel of your emotions, get a feel on everyone else's emotions, and come to the table during a conflict in a way that other people that do not possess high levels of social and emotional intelligence can come to the table with. You're going to come to the table, in a more cooperative way. You want to hear other people. You want to fully understand, and you're going to use that power and influence to bring people together or to bring you and the other party together so that you can find a solution because conflict is typically a needing of a solution. So really overall, managers who are able to prioritize their social and emotional intelligence and their growth will benefit from having folks that become more for lack of a better word, more loyal to you because they can respect you, they feel safe around you, they trust you, they know that you're real. Having social and emotional intelligence doesn't mean that you don't get angry or frustrated. You do. But you know what? If I know that I'm angry or frustrated, I might say, you know what? I know that my emotions are running high right now. So how about I take a minute and, give myself a little space to breathe and think and then come back to this conversation. Or you know what, you're kind of heated right now. And so, you know what, let me take a step back and I'm going to give you the floor so that you can express yourself in the way that you need to because I can hear your anger. I can feel your frustration. I can see your sadness. Emotional intelligence and awareness is being aware of what's going on inside of you, paying attention to it so that it impacts your behaviors. It impacts, excuse me, your behaviors. It impacts your words. It impacts your decisions. And that being in the moment and being present means that uh, you're taking in information from the other person. There's a connection in this moment, and that builds stronger relationships, and that is the making of great leaders and managers. So, with that being said, in closing, I'm going to leave you with the words of my beloved mother and namesake for my company. In life, you can either work hard or you could work smart. I suggest you work smart. Margie, be smart. Thank you, Mom, for those sage words. I hope that something that I said today may resonate with you to make life a little smarter for you in terms of some of the things that you do and a little better for you in terms of your outcomes. Thank you again. Happy Mother's Day for those celebrating this weekend and have a great weekend. And I will see you next Friday at noon. Bring a friend and a colleague. Bye bye.